Osborne, how are you today? Welcome to one of our favorite nights of the school year. It's always nice that when we start off our very first board meeting at the beginning of every year, because that's our opportunity where we bring all of our new teachers into that meeting and they introduce themselves. So that's a fun and exciting evening. But this final board meeting of the academic year is always a super joyful opportunity for us to come together because we get to celebrate. We celebrate those that are being recognized for exemplary service to the community. We recognize those who have many years of service for 20, 25, 30, 35, and this year 40 years of service to the district. And we also recognize our retirees. I'm Michael Robert, by the way. Many of you may not know who I am. I'm Michael Robert, superintendent here in Osborne. And I'm glad to welcome my predecessor, Miss Patty Tate, who's here with us tonight to celebrate with us. Welcome back, Patty. We're going to go on ahead and hop right into our celebrations because this takes a while, but it's worth it. It's worth taking time to honor and celebrate. And I did this last year, and I'm having to do it again. I'll offer my apologies right at the very beginning of this meeting. I'm here for a while, but not for the whole night. Today, 1 year ago on this board meeting date, my second son graduated high school, and today my daughter's graduation is. So I'm here for a little bit, and then I'm going to be popping out. So thanks for your understanding. We're also going to do our celebrations in a little bit of different fashion than we normally have. Normally we do all of one, 20-year, and then all of the 25 years, all of the 30 years, all of the You Make the Difference, all the retirees separate. But today I'm pulling the You Make the Difference Awards separate, and then we're going to celebrate by department and by campus. So I'll call up a director and they will honor their retirees and their years of service recipients by department and by campus. But we're going to start with our You Make the Difference Awards. We're in our 36th year, 38th year? It's something big like that. I think our 36th year of doing the You Make the Difference Awards. And this is an award that is open to anyone that has an impact on the Osborne School District. So any staff members, but also community members that have an impact on this district. Normally we select somewhere in between 4 and 6 recipients of this award. This year we have 6 people that we're going to be celebrating. When I call them up, I'm going to be reading to you from the letter that they were nominated with. This isn't just a district award. There's something super special about this award because it takes an individual that stops and recognizes the impact that you make, how it matters to them, and then how that spreads to everybody within the community. So it's nice to share the actual words from the person that wanted to honor this person. The first person we're going to call up to honor tonight is Martha Corral. You can come stand right here. I have this thick stack of papers, and so I'm not going to stand here and read everything to you. I'm just going to read selections from the nomination. I nominate Martha Corral, English learner, paraprofessional at Solano Elementary School, for the You Make a Difference Award in Osborne. For the last 2 years, I've had the pleasure of working with Martha as one of her direct supervisors as curriculum specialist for language acquisition and biliteracy. As an EL paraprofessional for over 10 years, she's demonstrated positive interpersonal relationships, knowledgeable, flexible, incredible work ethic, and commitment. Martha's a great leader and seeks opportunities to support her colleagues by sharing ideas, collaborating, demonstrating great practical and technical knowledge of weekly related tasks. She establishes amazing positive relationships with teachers, office staff, parents, and students. Doesn't this feel good to hear all this? Isn't it wonderful? She's determined and committed to engaging her students in language development through listening, reading, writing, and speaking. Martha's incredible work ethic and commitment to her school district community is overwhelmingly positive. She takes pride in her work and dedicates long hours to be well prepared. Her skills, abilities, flexibility, and commitment make her highly qualified for the You Make a Difference Award at Osborne. This was submitted by Monica Artea, and we take this moment to recognize Martha Corral. You make a difference here in Osborne. All You Make the Difference Award recipients, as soon as I've given the award out to all 6 people, we'll take a picture right up here up front before we move on. The next person we'd like to recognize is Rebecca Greenberg. Becca, come on up here. Becca, Luis Valencia had these things to say about you. Rebecca Greenberg is the art teacher at Encanto Elementary School. Becca's invested a lot of time and effort creating numerous projects. Students have participated in several contests and have created many museum-quality art pieces. To get a glimpse of what happens in class, you can walk into the Encanto office and admire a wall-sized mural illustrating the Encanto community as a whole. Students have also participated in creating art pieces that turn into mugs, t-shirts, paintings, etc. In the art class, there are many opportunities for students to showcase their creativity and free thinking. Becca's also written many grants. One grant was to help students regulate emotions through music. The instruments were placed in the school playground and are available for any student during recess time. The behavior team has used these instruments to help calm students down when feeling overwhelmed or frustrated. Ms. Greenberg is constantly thinking about her students and how she can take their creativity beyond the classroom setting. Her motivation and vision has helped students be innovative and creative. It's great to see students come out of art class full of excitement while carrying their creations. Whether it's making something out of recycled materials or something that will hang in their family's living room, art class at Encanto School is exciting and rewarding. For these reasons and for many others, Rebecca Greenberg, you make a difference here in Osborne. Liza Heath, come on down. Your principal, Carol Hayes, has the following things to say. Look at that look of love. This letter is in support of Liza Heath and her consideration for the You Make the Difference Award. Liza started her career at OMS teaching 8th grade math. Over the course of time, Liza rose to the challenge and taught high school geometry to our 8th graders. No matter what teaching assignment Liza has had, she's made a profound impact on each of her students. Not only did Liza teach the content to her students, she also provided them a safe space to be and someone to talk to when going through tough times. She's been able to create positive relationships with her students and our OMS staff, which has made an impact on all of us. Liza is currently serving as our MTSS coordinator. That stands for Multi-Tiered System of Supports. She has been, I have to do that to make sure I'm getting it right, and looking to Liza to help me out in case I got it wrong. She's been extremely innovative and fearless in the implementation of this new process on our campus. She's able to look at our school-wide data and break that down to create plans for students, for groups of students, and individual students. I appreciate how she thinks through the best ways to support each student including pulling small groups to support with Tier 2 and 3 levels of support. She's also coordinated MTSS meetings to create plans to support students who may be struggling. Liza goes above and beyond to support all students and staff, and I couldn't think of a more deserving person to be recognized for the difference she makes every day here at OMS. Liza Heath, you make a difference here in Osborne. And I know I saw Jennifer earlier. Jennifer Houston, where are you? Come on up, Jennifer. Jennifer, John Fermanic has the following things to say about you, but he didn't just write it himself. He had some students help him. So I'll also be sharing some things students have to say. Jennifer is very dedicated to Solano School and the Osborne School District. During the pandemic and beyond, she's made sure all our scholars have access to breakfast and lunch. If for some reason breakfast is missing something, she'll immediately bring it right down to my classroom. She has incredible patience with the students and knows the needs and wants of individual students. As they go through the line, she makes sure that they have available foods that match their dietary restrictions. In my room, she knows which students like jalapenos, which students don't eat meat, and which student needs non-dairy milk. John has so many things to say, but I'll get to some of the things that kids had to say. Xavier said, "She makes great food. She's so nice. She's the best in the world." Elijah says, "Every single food she makes is so good. She makes sure we're not hungry." Brando says, "I always hope she's having a good day, and she always makes the best food." Jennifer makes a difference because she makes all of us feel special, and she cares for us. Overall, Jennifer makes breakfast, lunch, and after-school snacks just taste better because it's made with love. Jennifer Houston, you make the difference in Osborne. The next recipient is a community member, someone many of you may not know, but you need to. So Susan Levy, come on up. Osborne School District has a long-standing relationship with Native Health. Throughout that time, Susan Levy has been at the center of that relationship. Normal outreach and community partnering was happening, but the pandemic took things to overdrive. When the first COVID vaccines were being developed, Susan reached out to Osborne and began conversations about access for community members to receive the vaccine. She was especially looking forward to when the vaccine would be available to school-aged individuals, or when the pediatric vaccines would be available. Months before it was possible, Osborne and Native Health, all through the actions of Susan Levy, began plotting what a school-based vaccine clinic would look like. Before we had school-based clinics, however, there was the difficulty in gaining access for adults to get vaccines. Instead of having to go to the stadium or large county-run clinics, Susan worked with us to get Osborne community adults access to vaccines locally. She was a real champion of vaccines for all in the Osborne area, but really took things to the next level for our kids. Summer 2021, more specifically May, was a huge time for Osborne and within the state. Osborne Middle School hosted one of the first school-based COVID clinics for COVID-19 vaccines for youth aged 12 to 17. They were arranged, planned, coordinated, and staffed with Native Health staff and contractors. The earliest clinics also partnered with other entities to provide much-needed food boxes for families. In total, Osborne hosted 13 site-based clinics in all of our school communities. I can vividly remember these clinics and the reactions of parents. The tears, relief, joy, love, and again, relief were real. This was made possible by Native Health for the Osborne School District. But Native Health had a face, a champion. That was and is Susan Levy. For Osborne School District, you make the difference. And Josh, where are you? Right over here with family. Come on up. Jill Singh had the following thing to say. I'm trying to channel some Jill energy, which is impossible. Maybe Patty should read it because she probably equals Jill in energy. I cannot even begin to explain how lucky Montecito, and really me, is to have Josh at our building. We first worked together as part of the preschool grant when it was stationed at Montecito. And to say that he's diligent, a hard worker, resourceful, and flexible is an understatement. Now that I'm back at Montecito preparing the school for further Montessori classes and all the tasks that requires, his work ethic and support still remains just as strong. His flexibility to every idea, plan, or scheme that I can come up with is always met with a suggestion or recommendation as to how we can make it better for our students or families and the school we serve. He's served the district for years, and I'm certain that I'm not alone in recognizing his diligence and dedication to his job, making our district even better for the community. #DreamTeam. Written by Jill. Josh, you make the difference for Osborne School District. Can I get all 6 of our You Make the Difference award recipients to come up center with your awards? If board members can hop right behind them.
Well, the younger ones can.
Oh, you can walk on out. You don't have to hop. Got it, Jamal? All right. All right, we're going to move on to schools and departments. We're going to start with Solano School. So I'd like to invite Solano's principal, Ms. Lisa Norwood, to come forward.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Robert, for allowing me to go first. We have 2 retirees at Solano this year, and unfortunately, they are not here tonight, but we will celebrate them tomorrow and next week. Diana Schlepp has served the Osborne School District for over 29 years, and we are sad that she is leaving Solano, but we know that she's excited about spending time with her grandchildren and with her husband. So, Diana Schlepp, we salute you tonight and thank you for all your years of service. Our next retiree is Krista Little. Krista has had a pretty tough year. And the school has come together in a huge way to just love on her. This year, she lost her husband, for those of you who don't know, but she came back as a fighter. She was dedicated to her students, she was dedicated to her team, and she just gave it all she had. And so we love Krista. We appreciate her coming back and giving back to her students at a time when her life was literally turned upside down. And Trista has dedicated over 23 years to the Osborne School District. And I invited her she said she wanted to come back and be around kids. I told her she can come back and volunteer anytime. So we'll accept her back. So congratulations to Krista, and we appreciate her for her service as well. Although he's not retiring, Mr. Formanek, who's online right now watching, he has served the Osborne School District and Solano School specifically for 25 years. Whenever I want to know anything about Solano and how it used to be, even before their big remodel, I ask John because he knows everything there is to know about Solano. And John, we thank you for your 25 years. And he knows all the kids' names. He still shows up every day with a smile on his face, ready to greet all of his scholars, and he still has that joy and love for teaching. And so we appreciate him being there as well. And then lastly, Miss Ethel Wood is one of our special education instructional assistants, and she has served Solano and the Osborne School District for 20 years. And Miss Ethel, I will never forget meeting her last year for the first time. She says, "I don't chase children." And I said, "Okay." She was very adamant about what she was going to do and what she was not going to do, but she is there every day. And she has not chased any children. She's held true to that, but she loves on them, and she doesn't have to chase them because they follow suit with whatever she asks them to do. So we appreciate Ethel for her 20 years of service to Solano and the Osborne School District. She says she's given us maybe one more year. We're going to see if we can get her for 2 more years. We'll see. But we appreciate all of our retirees and all of our 20 plus years of service team members at Solano. And thank you all for your service. And thank you for allowing me to go next. I have to go teach class now.
We've got professional development days tomorrow on Wednesday, so Lisa will have the chance to share all these awards once again with her school community, and that'll be nice for the whole school to be there and recognize and honor those folks. Let me just so you guys know what all of our retirees are getting. They're getting this wonderful golden apple, and it has their name and Osborne School District and their years of service that they worked here within the district. The next person that we're going to be recognizing is Jill Crosley. And I don't have anything written down because when it comes to talking about Jill, probably everybody here doesn't need to prepare anything. You could just come up here and start talking about how she's impacted you and how she's helped you. Because that's what Jill Crosley is. She is a developer of teachers. She's a teacher. She believes in the craft, the art, the skill, the beauty of teaching, and works her everything off to help. I was talking about her brain. To truly help guide teachers to that place. You know, we've come a long way here in Osborne in terms of student achievement. And when I think about like doing okay and then doing better and then going over the top, what did it take to get over the top for an Osborne school to get over the top? It took Jill. I can think back to when we had our very first school that achieved an A-level status. And Jill was the master teacher on that campus. And, you know, I've known her in this capacity as superintendent, but as a principal, working with my peer principals, it was wanting that for my school, what she was able to bring to kids, what she was able to bring to teachers. I wanted some of that. And we went and visited Solano just to see what it was that Jill was making happen for everyone on that campus. And she's brought it to other campuses, from teaching at, moving from that master teacher position to working with English learners at Clarendon and moving students to pulling. We had a remarkable science group that my son got to be a part of, that you led, that went on to like national recognition for what they did, the excitement that she builds in learning. She's helped kids and teachers go so far. And although Jill's retiring, she's going to keep doing that. She is going to be starting work. When do you start with them? In June, with NIET, that's the National Institute for Excellence in Teaching, with the TAP system for teacher and student advancement. And that's what she's put an entire career towards. And knowing that she's going to continue doing that, and that we're going to continue partnering and learning with Jill, it's almost like we're not really letting her retire. But she really is, and we're going to miss you. Thank you so much for all that you've given every school here, every teacher, every administrator. You've helped lift us up, and we wish you your best in retirement. John, do you have? All right, John's coming forward. After John is going to be Mariah, and after Mariah, Corey.
All right, so Olga, I don't know if she's here tonight or not. Probably not. She's probably working. That's the way Olga is. So I wanted to say a few words about her. She's been here 25 years. It's a long time. So Osborne's one of those traditions that people come here and they never leave. They just stay and stay and stay. And even when they do leave, we all seem to find our way back. So Osborne's a great place to be. Olga started at Montecito when Montecito was brand new. And once it closed down, she went to Longview. She's actually worked at every school, including the district office. She's one of those employees that's not afraid to learn something. She does her job, does it well. She knows all the machinery. She knows all the cleaning methodologies we use. She shares them. She trains people. You can't say enough about Olga. She's just one of those people, never gripes or complains. She's just always here. She always has glowing evaluations. Her 25 years have never been any less than stellar. So thank you, Olga, for all your hard work, and we will celebrate her in our meeting when we catch her. Okay?
All right, I get the pleasure of celebrating two individuals tonight. So we have Judy O'Brien, who is not with us tonight because she's focusing on keeping the community safe. She was exposed to COVID and she wanted to make sure everyone was safe tonight. But we are going to celebrate her tomorrow at our student services afternoon as well. So she has been a wonderful social worker. She has worked part-time with our district, supported students, and is rounding out her career. She's going to go to Hawaii and enjoy that retirement with her grandchildren. But I also have the pleasure of forgetting my flowers. Melissa, can you bring my flowers real quick? Thank you. To celebrate Becky McNanny for 30 years of service. Becky, can you come on up? Thank you. All right. So Becky McNanny has worn many hats throughout her 30 years in the Osborne School District. Whether supporting in the classroom, in a front office, or from the district office, Becky has always been about serving our community and students. These days in particular, her wealth of knowledge keeps things running and ensuring that our students with special needs are receiving the services that they need and deserve. Becky's wealth of knowledge is unmatched. Whether you need to know how to access an IEP, the name of a student she screened for vision and hearing 8 years ago, or how to bake amazing cinnamon buns, Becky has your back. We are so thankful to have had you for the last 30 years, and we will squeeze out every bit of information in our next 6 months with you before you retire. Thank you so much, Becky, for your years of service.
All right. So we have three people tonight to honor. We have one person, well, one retiree who is not here with us right now. She had some logistical issues and wasn't able to make it. Maria Zaniga. She was also with us for 20 years, and she retired in the middle of the year. She is missed. She has been, gave lots of years of loyalty to Osborne, and I miss her salsa. She made really good salsa, and so when I think about her, she was just awesome in the kitchen, and she showed that love to every day with the kids as they went through the line too. The other person who is not here, who's being honored, is for 35 years of service. Nancy Woodman has been in the district for 35 years. And she wasn't able to make it tonight, but her dedication is obvious at 35 years. And she like what I like to say about her is that she keeps our department together. She is a finder of all things, and she's been here so long, has so much knowledge about how things work, how they used to work, and that type of thing. And so we're lucky to have her, and she's just a big part of our department. And then we also have a retiree who is here with us. Michael, you want to come up? So I too don't have anything written down for Michael because it's pretty easy to talk about Michael in both a professional and personal sense. Michael, after talking to a few people in our department about, hey, what are we going to miss about Mike? The things that he brings to the table and that kind of thing. One of the things that we have to mention is his attention to detail. That's very apparent when you walk into Michael's kitchen. Things are they are spotless. His salads are made with very, very detailed, appealing, I guess, they're appealing. One of the things that is unique about OMS is they have a salad bar. And so Michael just make sure that salad bar is a place that you want to be. Any given day I could walk into the kitchen and Mike will be whipping up something. Oh, what are you making today, Mike? That smells really good. And that looks really good, and so we're going to miss his creative mind. With the things that he comes up with, and to serve the kids and try to keep the kids coming back. When you walk into a kitchen, one of the things that you first notice is a smell, and that is something that Michael has done a really good job of. Trying to make the kitchen smell really good. He boils apples and cinnamon just to get that smell going if we're not baking bread, and so. I know the students and the staff are going to miss him. He's awesome with his crew. He's always helping his crew. I mean, you talk about a leader and a manager, and he pitches in. He just gets right in there with them. And I know that his crew is going to miss him because they're like a family. So personally, sorry. Sorry. I'm not done. I just, sorry. I've only been here 7 years, but we just grow so close together, I think, and so it's hard for me to say goodbye to Mike. But one of the coolest things about Mike is his imagination, and he's a dreamer, and he's artistic, and I love that about you. And if you get a chance to ask him what he's doing after he retires, you should really do that, because I don't know anybody in my life that has picked up and moved to a different country like Mike's about to do. And, you know, he's doing it and he's just like super excited about it. And I don't know, I really appreciate that, you know, about you as a person, and we're going to miss that. So, yeah, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Would Miss Karen Lindbergh please join me up here? Yeah, you're gonna have to stand with me. OMS is not OMS without Karen. She has taught ELA, Read 180, all sorts of things throughout the course of her career at OMS. She's extremely creative and sets up a welcoming and engaging classroom environment. She has a great love for reading, and that passion shines through when she's with her classes. She has served on our site council for as long as I've been at OMS. She hosts student teachers in her classroom to support their growth as an educator. She coordinates Pride Buck auctions. She helps in preparing us for 8th grade promotions. There's a million more things that I can mention that I won't in this speech that she's done for us. Preparing for 8th grade promotions, she's getting ribbons ready to go for all the kids so that they can be recognized during promotion. She's getting the tickets ready to go. She's coordinated the student awards. Like, she is doing so much to keep us alive, and I really appreciate that. She pays attention to the important details, and that makes such a difference to all of us at OMS. On top of all of that, Karen is kind enough to open her home to us, the staff, for get-togethers to help build a strong staff culture as we work through the school year together. I am so grateful and thankful for the opportunity to work with Karen and appreciate all that she does to keep OMS going. Please help me in congratulating Karen on her 25 years of service. Mr. Richard Landera. How are you, Richard? Richard has served as a 7th and 8th grade social studies teacher in his time at OMS. Richard is incredible at bringing history to life, and his students absolutely love his class. He has a gift of attaining and maintaining his students' attention with his engaging lessons. He's able to laugh and have fun with his students while at the same time holding them accountable to high-quality work. We just had our 6th grade visits, and the first group from Solano, they weren't able to visit Mr. Landera's class, and so I went to our student council folks who were leading the tours for our 6th graders, and I said, what kind of feedback would you guys give us to make this better for the next group? They said, we have to go to Mr. Landera's classroom. The kids are asking for it, and we just have to take them there. I said, I hear you. And so your reputation precedes itself, obviously. In addition to all of that, he served on our site council as well. He has served as a mentor teacher on our TAP leadership team, and he has supported student teachers in his classroom over the course of his career as well. Richard takes his role as an educator very seriously, and in the 16 years that I've been at OMS, I can't remember a time that he's taken a day off. I know that I can count on Richard to do his best and to do whatever is asked of him to make OMS the best place that it can be. I'm incredibly grateful and proud to come to work with you, Richard, every day. He makes OMS a special place to work and learn, and please help me in congratulating him on his 25 years of service as well. Thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone. Oh gosh, sorry, there's always one in the group. All right, sorry. Mr. President, members of the board, community, and guests, I am very honored to be able to share a little bit with you about classroom magic and the magic that Mrs. DeCindis has been creating in her classroom for the last 20 years. She's also retiring, so we're celebrating 2 for 1, 20 years and a retirement. As I thought about how we could best celebrate our wonderful Shannon, it dawned on me that I could let a famous storyteller celebrate her into retirement. A famous professor once said, "It matters not what someone is born, but what they grow to be." Shannon, you have grown to be a passionate, dedicated teacher who has created a lifetime of memories for your student. A few months ago during arrival to school on a Monday morning, I opened a door in the AM and welcomed a fifth grade student to school. He said, and I quote, "I am so excited to be here." And I was like, "Oh, it's Monday, why?" And he said, "I can't wait to get to class. Mrs. DeCindis is reading us Harry Potter, and I can't wait to see what happens next." This is the magic that she has created for the last 20 years in her classroom. Come on down, Shannon. So, all that being said, I would like to celebrate her into retirement with a few little things from the magical world of Harry Potter. First, Shannon, your letter to your retirement is in this bag. It is going to greet you and all the wonderful things that should be in store for you. Ooh, just like Harry Potter, but there's no owls. Next, we have a little remember all. This is for you, and in it you will find some of the amazing memories you've created for our staff and students at Longview. From what I hear when you can't open it tonight though, Shannon. You have to keep it for a special occasion. From what I hear about retirement, there are times you might decide and kick back and have marvelous beverages. In there, you have a little glass that you can enjoy your mischief. Just don't get into too much trouble. Hello. Oh, you got a theme going here, right? And then finally, we have a little map for you that is signed by all your Longview family, and it will always let you know where to come when you are looking for someone to find during your retirement journey. So we wish you all the best, Shannon. Happiness and Thank you. All right. It's very heavy. Be careful. All right. I gave them to her. All right. Next, I am honored to be able to share with you a little bit about Miss Valles. Miss Valles, where are you? Come on down.
I don't know why this isn't up here.
Mrs. Valles is celebrating 25 years in the Osborne School District. She is fabulous, and she is celebrating her fabulousness here at Longview. There are many words I can use to describe Mrs. Valles, but one that I feel best enhances and captures who she is sparkle. It is by far the most fitting word and perhaps my most favorite. So how does Miss Valles sparkle? Let me share a bit of the mystique with you. Ms. Valles has been at Longview for 25 years. She brings a wealth of experience each day to her classroom, but I think it is the it factor that makes her so special. She is in the memory making business. Okay, stop with that. I was on a roll here. She is in the memory making business, and she takes the time each day to make memories for her students. But our staff she makes memories with as well. She is always looking for a way to create a special moment or a memory. All About Me posters, Reasons to Love Longview, Valentine's, sixth grade promotion celebration, and even the love of our hometown heroes, the Suns. She shares all of these things with all of us, and it helps us become connected and truly a work family. She touches the hearts and minds of students and staff each day. We currently have staff members on campus who are in her class. Just last week at Peter Piper Night, across the tables, a former second grade student saw her and came over to chat, and Ms. Valles was introduced to her family. She has many roles at Longview. She's a teacher, but she's a cheerleader, a party planner, a memory maker, a trusted colleague, and a good friend. Tonight, we celebrate Mrs. Valles being in the Osborne School District 25 years, but at Longview, we celebrate that she has chosen to be with us here for 25 years, sharing her sparkle each day and every day. Thank you, Mrs. Valles. Thank you. I don't have the fingerprints.
And can I just say that the most special, what makes this evening even more special is to see 3 of my students from many years ago be here tonight. Oh my goodness, this is just making my heart full. Thank you.
We have another 25-year celebration, and then that is the amazing Mrs. Morris. Mrs. Morris, come on down. Mrs. Morris has been in the business of kids for many, many years. She has helped many kinder students learn the ropes over the years. She is patient, kind, and dedicated to her students. She is also a bit of a rock star. I cover lunch duty for first and second grade, and every single time she walks into the cafeteria, children are yelling her name and waving wildly, all for a little smile or wave from Mrs. Morris. She creates a warm, nurturing, and enriching environment for everyone she comes in contact with. She is the right hand to Mr. Mears this year, and for Mrs. Taylor, who retired last year from Longview, her spouse, as we like to call them. They work together and they beautifully enhance the lives of children. Mrs. Morris is intuitive and she senses what students and staff need, and she makes it happen. She's a warm, constant presence at Longview and is always ready to support. Over the years, she has supported countless students. She has watched them grow and bloom from little kinders all the way to adulthood. Educators come in many shapes and sizes, and Mrs. Morris is small and mighty. She has been helping support Longview students and helping them bloom into amazing adults for 25 years. Here is to many more years with Mrs. Morris. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And then Mrs. Pruch, who never misses a day of work, is literally sick right now. Who can believe it? So she is celebrating 20 years. She is not joining us, but she might be online. Who knows? Mrs. Pruch, tonight we celebrate you. Mary is a true upper grade teacher. She loves the kids, the silliness, the sarcasm, and the stuff that upper grade students are famous for bringing to campus every day. She's committed to her students and find ways to link what they are learning each day to the world around them. She is actively involved in student council and believes community service is part of going to school. She loves exposing her students to life beyond Longview and setting up them for future successes. As a teacher, you make an impact, and Mary has done just that. This year, one of her former students is student teaching with her. This is a testament to the special sauce that Mary brings with her every day to Longview. Thank you, Mary Pruch. Thank you all.
All right. I am here to celebrate Jennifer Starren. Jennifer has served for 20 years in the Osborne School District. Jennifer, yep. So I first want to say that before she came to us, she was a member of the Armed Services. So we want to thank her for her services. Once she decided to become a teacher, she started in 2001. She did her student teaching at Encanto in second grade in dual language. After that, she moved to Longview. She worked with language acquisition with the primary grades. After that, she moved to Clarendon. She taught sixth grade at Clarendon. Toured to Osborne. She's been to them all. She also has served at OMS. She was in the social studies department and worked at language acquisition and social studies. Then she came to Solano, and that's when I first met her. I was able to serve as her master teacher over at Solano. And she was a PE teacher, and then a sixth grade teacher, and then a fourth grade teacher. Jennifer has also served on the district budget committee. She's served on all of our adoption committees. She's been a very interested and integral part of our community, always wanting to make sure that our kids have the best, and a big supporter of all of our teachers. I was really fortunate when iSchool started. I said, any volunteers? Jennifer was like, yes. She has great tech skills and she has done an amazing job. And online isn't for everybody, and she has really excelled at it. She's built a fantastic community with her online learners. She engages them all the time. We just had last month, iSchool did the presentations, and Jennifer was one of our points of pride. So rewind to last month, I said all the great things that the parents had to say about her. But we're very, very proud of her 20 years of service and her dedication to Osborne, bringing her students here to or her own children here, not only to go to school, but then to end up working here as well. And we're really appreciative of her and everything that she's given to us, and we hope she continues to do that for a long time. Thank you, Jennifer.
Hello, everybody. Next up, begrudgingly, I invite Miss Beltran up here. I welcome Miss Beltran up here as she starts her new adventure in retirement. And every other day, I'm like, are you sure? Are you sure? But we are very excited for her and her new adventure. So I have a couple of words. Kind, organized, caring, responsive, mentor, dedicated, tall. When asked to describe Michelle Beltran, these were the words that our fellow Cougars used to describe her. However, words cannot describe how much Beltran means to us in our Cougar community. Over the years, Michelle has built strong, authentic relationships with students, families, and staff. Her bright smile and positivity light up our campus. Her laugh is infectious. When you walk into her classroom, you can feel the joy and you can sense the amount of love and pride that she has for her students. As a mentor, she has guided many new educators, setting them on a path of success, ensuring the success of many other students in the Valley and beyond. Simply put, she cares. She is patient and kind with her students and colleagues. Michelle is always thinking about our Clarendon students and making sure we, as teachers and staff, are doing what is best for them. We love you, Michelle, and are grateful for everything you have and continue to contribute to our campus and kiddos. Congratulations to you, Ms. Beltran, on your retirement. We hope it is filled with many puzzles, home rental projects completed, relaxing trips, and many, many, many grandbaby snuggles.
Good evening, everybody. I'm extremely excited and saddened in the sense we have two retirees at Encanto. One of them could not join us, unfortunately, but that was Karen Epley. Ms. Epley is a speech therapist at our school. And also, just to let you know, I had almost a novel, but I got just 2 pages of the things that people said about our staff. So Mrs. Epley is retiring, and there were many wonderful things mentioned about her, but one of the things that struck me the most is someone mentioned Ms. Epley is not only our speech therapist, but she is a valued member of our school community and will be missed. Students enjoy going to her speech classes, and she has done an amazing job providing strategies for students to improve their speech. Our parents continuously thank her for her services and the improvement they have in their children's speech. Ms. Epley is kind, efficacious, and will be missed, and we wish her the best. I'm not sure, I don't know, maybe I did grow up with a speech impediment, I don't know. But some of our children go to speech, and if there is a speech impediment, they often have low self-esteem and they don't speak up because of that. However, due to the work that Mrs. Epley does and her dedication to our students, they leave always with a smile, they leave more confident, and so she will truly be missed, and we wish her the best. Dr. Taylor David. So many things. Well, if you didn't know, Dr. Taylor David used to be a former principal. And she was not only a former principal, but she was our superintendent's principal back in the day. So there are many connections there. When I first started at Encanto, I often went for her advice. I remember just talking to her and how would you handle this situation? Her advice was always sound and always produced positive outcomes. One thing that she said, and I won't use your exact words, but you said something, you're the principal, you get to make that choice. So I was like, you know what, you're right. Someone mentioned that Lynn returned to the classroom because that is where her heart has been through her 40 plus years in education. She has shared her experience with her grade level team. She looks for new ways to challenge her students in all areas. She has brought the tradition of oral storytelling to her students and has encouraged them to use that as a foundation for writing. Lynn has gained the respect and trust of all of her families and will be missed by all. A quick side note, Dr. Tara David is kind of like my spiritual guru, I would say. We often talk about very deep things, and we need to go to dinner, and I can't wait to hear about your book that you are going to write. She has all these stories, and I'm like, that needs to be a book. Like that, you need to write that down. So I need to have that first copy of that book. Okay. Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So we have a 20-year of service, 25 and 40-year service at Encanto. So if it's Ms. Rosalva Thompson can please come up here. You know, one of the things with our instructional assistants that happens is that sometimes they're in the background and don't get the recognition that they deserve. They are really the ones that are there and help us do what we do. And Rosalva is one of these people. When we first started with COVID, and I don't know if many of you recall, we had what was called SILS, where our students can be dropped off because parents had to work and so forth. Rosalva was one of the first to volunteer. It was a really scary time because we didn't have as much information about the pandemic as we do now. However, she was there, she was consistent, she showed up, she supported the students, and she did it with a smile. You couldn't see the smile because of the mask, but you can see her smiling through her eyes. Somebody commented that Rosalva is an amazing educator. Her kindness and warmth is seen in the ways she interacts with students and staff members. I have learned and grown so much from her being at Encanto. And so thank you for your 20 years of service at Osborne. The next person I like to call up is Mr. Valencia, Luis Valencia. Mr. Valencia is really inspiring, and I learn from him every day, and he's really funny as well. So I saw him today, and I was like, nice shirt. He's like, yeah, it's a special day. I'm wearing my what did you say? My nice shorts as well. And I was like, yeah, that's awesome. But if you ever talk to Luis, he is just really inspirational, and you can really, I'm trying to use the correct word, but you can infer that everything he does is for students. Every single interaction that you have is always positive. I admire him because I'm not that positive. Sometimes I'm kind of like fake positive. You know those people that are like, like, yeah, I got this, we got this. Oh, that's my saying, by the way, so I won't use that as a fake positive. But Luis is just so amazing, and every interaction anybody has is always great. He is now our behavior specialist, so we changed the title. He changed the title to a behavior coach. This is how remarkable he is. We got a very angry parent, like super angry, and so they went because of some things that happened, right? And so they were in the conference room. The meeting was, I don't know, about an hour, and I'm just kind of going in, just watching to see if he's okay, and So obviously he didn't need me because at the end of the meeting they were hugging it out, and I didn't get an opportunity to debrief with you and see what you had talked to with that parent about, but I can tell that that parent left heard, understood, and ensured that Luis was going to take the correct action to remedy the situation. Again, many remarks about Luis, so I'll read just one. Luis Valencia has been quite a force on the Encanto campus for decades. He helped found the dual language program at Encanto that has flourished under his mentorship. He has guided many bilingual student teachers through their college program, instilling his love of culture and positive outlook on public education. Louis has made connections with students that have lasted a lifetime. Because of his strong foundations on relationship and mentorship project-based learning, Luis has received many honors such as the Chicano por la Causa Esperanza Teacher of the Year, My School Hero Award, and Osborne Teacher of the Year, just to name a few. Beyond our school campus, he works to make public education better for Osborne and Arizona educators through his work on the Osborne Education Association leadership team as the membership chair. He has proudly represented us at the legislature and in many media interviews advocating for English language learners, increasing funding for public education, and safe working conditions. Most notably, Luis shows up for his students and his team, rarely misses a day with a smile on his face, always willing to step up to help someone in need, and lifting us forward to see the opportunities that await. Congratulations, Luis. A lot, no. Unfortunately, we have Julie German, who wasn't able to join us today. She had a previous engagements, but can you believe that she's been with Osborne for 40 years? 40 years. Julie is the most true positive person that you will ever meet. I run into her in the parking lot sometimes around 6-something, 7, and I'm like, hi, and she's like, hey, Felipe. Like, I don't know where she gets this positivity from, but it really encourages me when I run into her, because if you know her, she never has anything negative to say about anything or anybody. Even the dead grass, well, part of it is still alive, so we're okay. So she's just an amazing educator, and I want to read a couple of words that someone commented. I remember when I started 19 years ago, and I would bring my students into the library to see Julie and Lori, the dynamic duo. They would always have a smile on their faces for my students, and they would always lift me up with their laughter, jokes, and camaraderie. Over the years, Julie has moved across Encanto to support our school in so many ways. Her continued contribution inspires everyone she's around. Her inner light, hard work, loyalty, and diligence is something every school wishes they had from every employee. I hope for nothing more than to keep Julie for her next 40 years. I will make sure we celebrate Julie at our Encanto celebration. Thank you.
I think it's nice that we finished with a 40-year, right? But it's not just the 40 years, it's the why 40 years. Sometimes you've got to ask that question, why 40 years? And I think the last hour should give you a pretty good reason why. There's a lot of love in this room, and that's love for community. That's love for the children that we get the pleasure and honor to work with. That's love for one another when a staff can come together. Do you see how these staff members are with one another? The love that's there, the friendships that are made. I say it all the time, but I'm glad that everybody gets a chance to just see it. This is a really special place to work. And this is such a fun night. So thank you everyone for coming out and celebrating. When we get back from the break, I'm not gonna be here.
Can I have just a minute?
Sure.
I'm just a young girl, but I want to tell you, I went to school here at Encanto when I was just a little girl. My children, all three, started kindergarten and went through 8th grade here. I worked here in the district office as a secretary, mainly receptionist. And this is my 12th and final year on the school board. And I could not be prouder of this district. It is a wonderful place, and I know personally from many of you teachers, cafeteria workers, bus drivers, how hard you work and how much you do for our children here and how you support each other. And I am so grateful to be a part of this district. Thank you so much.
Let's take a minute. Let's take a minute as a board to stop and just celebrate with one another, and we'll reconvene here in about 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay, it's not too late. Yeah, apparently not. Okay, that's fair. All right. I'm gonna call the meeting to order. And the first item on the agenda is Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic, which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right.
Let me just say one thing. Out of order.
Yes?
One thing that when I went to Encanto School and the under God came into the pledge, they said, one nation under God, not one nation under God.
Okay, thank you. All right, item number 4, consent agenda. Any motions?
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
I second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Oh, and Eleni, are you still on the phone? Okay, thanks for hanging in there. All right. Item number 5, call to the public. Are there any members of the public who wish to address the board?
No, I've received no request.
Thank you. Item number 6 was supposed to be Mr. Paul Yulin to present on a proposed override election. Mr. Yulin cannot make it, so that will be tabled to a later date. All right. Number 7, administrative reports. Are there any questions about the administrative reports?
No.
No.
Okay, thank you very much. Agenda item number 8, action items. I'm going to take things a little bit out of order. For item number D, consider, discuss, amend if desired and if deemed advisable to adopt a resolution ordering and calling for a special budget override election. I move that we table that until the June meeting.
Is there a reason for that so it coincides with the Paul Yulin presentation?
Correct.
Okay. You made the motion?
I made a motion.
I second.
All those in favor of tabling until the June meeting?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, we will table that to item 8D to the June meeting. All right, item number A, discussion approval of priorities for the ASBA 2022 political agenda. Okay. So this is for the ASBA's political agenda. Is an opportunity for us as a board to discuss any specific topics or items that we want to prioritize. These will be addressed later on, so we eventually need to come to a consensus, or not a consensus. There has to be an approval of specific topics that then the board, through its delegate to the conference, can speak for the district. So, there any specific? This can be an ongoing discussion as well. Is there any specific topics that come to mind, or preference from the political agenda?
Right. To submit whatever you all decide by the 23rd to ASBA.
Of
Just
May?
letting you know. I said.
Oh, no, sorry, that's okay. Of May? Okay, that is. I would prefer to have the administration's positions as well on some of these topics. So, because normally that's something that we often get input from the administration in terms of just what does the administration think is also important. So, do you know if that's a hard deadline?
It's when I have to submit it to whatever your decision is to ASBA.
Okay. Well, I don't know if that's gonna.
So is this Juan Carlos, where we have to pick, is it 3 items that we really care about?
5.
It's
5.
priorities.
5 that we really want to highlight and prioritize. Okay. And so we'll need to do that today and take a vote on that today, right? Okay.
All right. I
Sounds
guess it's not ideal, but okay. So, like I said, are there any things that come to mind?
I mean, it's a great list. There's a lot of important things here, but we've got to pick 5, right? So,
Yes.
I think fully funding all-day kindergarten for us, especially as an elementary district, is important. Do you want to go ahead?
Well, to say I can also speak a little bit to how this works at the meeting as well, the delegate meet or when this happens. So while we do pick 5 at the whole meeting, we actually go through and it's the whole day thing to go through each and every single one of them. So while we may pick 5, if you see the list on the ASBA website, it's an exhaustive list. I'm with you on that one. I think funding all day kindergarten is important, but I also would like to throw in there provide funding for preschool programs.
Agreed.
That's another big one. I mean, I have 2 right off the top, that one and the equitably invest in technology. I've seen technology differences from working in many districts across Arizona, or at least 4 districts now. And it's kind of shocking how different technology is from different district to district. So I wouldn't mind putting into that one too. So that way, 1, we have reliable technology, and 2, we have internet access for everyone. We do great that here, but I think that's also something when we think outside of Osborne as a whole is also something that we need to focus on.
One item that's important to me is built upon the concept of trust in local school boards and the professionals that manage and run the school. So the topic of preserving and strengthening local control is one that is top of mind for me. I think that we should trust the folks here in this room on the ground.
Yeah. That goes kind of, to me, that goes hand in glove with eliminate unfunded mandates and administrative burdens. It feels like that's something I've certainly learned the last year and a half or so being a school board member, of how many unfunded mandates and administrative burdens the legislature puts on school districts year over year without end, seemingly, without funding, frankly.
If I may throw one in here that's, I mean, related to all this as well, but also one thing that was a hot topic during the last meeting. Oppose any measure that will result in fewer qualified voters from being easily able to vote or register to vote. With everything going on right now, revolving around voting coming out of 2020's election, I think that's an important one. I think that's something that ASBA should be fighting for as well. That's at the very bottom. It's the last one. Okay. It's under the section require public accountability for taxpayer dollars spent on education.
Yeah.
Elenia,
she had to step out for a hot minute. So
okay.
She just sent me a message. That's probably more than 5 there already.
Yeah. I know that Luis, Ed, and I have maybe monopolized the conversation. I don't know, Sue, if you have any.
No, I'm fine.
Okay. I'd be interested in hearing Ms. Aguilar's suggestions as well before trying to rank these.
We need to rank them. I think we just picked 5,
Well,
right?
so I mean, we have more than. So we have.
It's top 5 plus 2 for consideration.
Oh, okay. So we got full kindergarten, and full preschool, equity and technology access, preserve local control, reduce unfunded mandates, and voter access. Loosely speaking, I don't know if that, at least if that makes sense in terms of the topics that we picked.
I'll go through and mark these.
All right. Do we need to take a vote, Lisa or Juan Carlos?
Yes. Okay. I believe that we need to sort of agree upon. But like I said, I'd be interested in seeing if Eleni has anything that we want to add. So we have other topics, and I'd be okay. I mean, let's see where we are. We can suspend this for now, and if we get through everything else, we can move it. All right. So let's pause on. We have a list, but I'm interested in seeing what Eleni has to say, if anything. So let's pause and move on to item 8B, the 2023 Budget Committee recommendations.
Evening. This is the summary of the Budget Committee recommendations for the presenting an FY23 balanced budget to the board for our maintenance and operations funds. The Budget Committee has been meeting all spring as the board has been receiving in the administrative reports updates of those minutes and talking points from the Budget Committee meetings throughout this spring. Budget Committee met last week. Usually we would be presenting this as the final meeting of Budget Committee, the final recommendations, and you'll notice that that's not the case this time around because we still don't have the legislature has not approved the state budget for FY23. So this initial recommendation from Budget Committee is based on the known revenues that the Budget Committee had to work with based on current school funding formula. So again, and as we've been doing the revenue projections with the board throughout the spring, these revenues were based on maintaining current student enrollment, aging those students up, assuming our kinder enrollment is the same as current year, and then looking at 2% inflationary increase just as the known for now until hopefully the legislature has to approve pass a budget by the end of June. And so we will be reconvening Budget Committee at a later date if additional dollars are approved for schools in that final state budget. But for now, this is with the known revenues we have, the recommendation from Budget Committee. Budget Committee had just over $880,000 in new revenues to work with in putting together the balanced recommendation. If you look in front of you, there is a revised recommendation in front of you, which has the green and blue columns. The revision is highlighted. The one change from what had gone out in the packet is to move the comp study recommendations for classified exempt staff into the priority A group. So what this recommendation from Budget Committee represents is Group A is our first priority recommendation that represents a balanced M&O budget to that $880,000 that we had of new revenues to work with. Group B represents those items that Budget Committee has prioritized as needed, but we do not have enough money available currently to fund all of the needs and recommendations. So those would be the first items to then be funded if additional dollars are approved and pushed to schools once the legislature passes a state budget. We would go to the Group B items to be funded first, and then if any additional dollars are pushed beyond that with the state legislative budget, then Budget Committee would reconvene to then discuss additional recommendations with any additional dollars. The recommendations include staffing recommendations, include several items that have already been brought to the board as timing necessitated those being brought for action sooner, such as our health insurance plans, increased costs, the retirement. There's a decrease in retirement contributions for next year to ASRS on both the employee and employer contributions. Some of those items are outside of our local control. All staff retention stipends, again, the board had already approved those at a previous meeting. The main items that the board has not taken action on yet up to this point are the second half of the list, which is the wage increases by classification. So if you'll remember at the work study, the board approved a 3% schedule enhancement to the hourly salary schedule. This would also include those comp study recommendations that go along with the individual position adjustments in that employee group. And then the additional increases for our additional employee groups. So our classified exempt staff receiving a 2% enhancement to that schedule. Certified teachers comp study recommendations to placement range adjustments for their schedules. The student support professionals, a 2% increase to their schedule. The administratives, a 2% increase to that salary schedule. The placement schedules. The comp study items for the student support professionals and the administrative group would be in the Group B priorities, which would be one of the first things funded if additional dollars are made available. One of the items in the Group A that Budget Committee felt very strongly about in making their recommendation was setting aside the funds to complete that final phase of the comp study and addressing pay equity, beginning with our all of our classified staff.
Wonderful.
Are there questions?
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Colleen. This is great. The Indigenous Peoples Day paid holiday, is it currently not an unpaid, is it an unpaid holiday currently?
Great question. I didn't mean to skip over that one. So the school calendar that the board approved at the beginning, I think it was in the January meeting, included an additional non-student day in honoring Indigenous Peoples Day. It aligns with that. It's right after what had been our week of fall break. So in the next year's student calendar, it's a week of fall break plus the Monday after, where there would be no students. Anytime that we have a non-student day, if the board has not approved that day as a paid holiday, then what that means is the staff whose work calendars follow the student calendar, schools aren't open, so they are not reporting to work, but unless it's a paid holiday, they're not being paid for that day. So a lot of our classified staff members, they are not paid for the breaks, the week of fall break, the week of spring break. And so the student calendar creates a 6 consecutive days of non-paid in that fall break timeframe now. So our recommendation would be to bring back in the June meeting, if this recommendation is approved, at the June meeting, the board would actually be revising their holiday policy, paid holiday policy, to include Indigenous Peoples Day as a paid holiday, so that even though it's a non-student day, all staff would be receiving that day paid as well. The cost value to that, you're probably asking, well, to do a paid holiday for all staff is only $8,500. No, that's not. Again, this is just the M&O costs, not all the other staff that are funded from other funds. But it's also because we're recommending swapping a day that's already built into the majority of our staff's work calendars. So I'll use teachers as an example. So for our teachers, they're already scheduled to report back to work one day after students in May. So whereas students' last day is Thursday, teachers' last day is Friday. Well, in the student calendar that was adopted for next year, students' last day is on a Friday right up to Memorial Day. So then teachers would be required to report back on the Tuesday after Memorial Day. And so we're recommending swapping that already budgeted for workday for a paid holiday to honor Indigenous People Day in October. So there's no budgetary ask for the majority of our staff to build in a paid holiday. The request of the $8,500 is for those staff that don't already have an additional workday in their calendar at the end of the year. We have several positions that their last day aligns to the student's last day. And so that's the additional ask of adding in a day for those staff.
Got it. One clarification, and this is something that I guess I did not realize. For spring break and fall break and winter break, during those periods, there are staff members that are not paid.
Correct. There's only the paid holidays that are approved in the board policy are paid days when there's no students for those identified staff. Your year-round staff, your 12-month staff, our work calendars, that's why the district office is open during spring break. The district office is open during fall break because those work calendars include breaks. We're not the entire district isn't closed during those break times. The district office is open. We're only closed on paid holidays.
Got it. Okay, thank you. Could you talk a little bit about the driver shortage, the 12-month positions? That's only a
Yes.
projected cost of 108,000. I know that's ESSER money. I was, we had to send out the messages this year about the driver shortage and
Yes.
changing routes and all of that. I just want to make sure I'm understanding what those positions are and how that might help.
So the thought process was that we would recommend using ESSER dollars for 1 year to see if it has the impact that we're hoping it's going to have, to assist with some of our driver shortage. On not just the recruitment side, but also on the retention side. As the director conducts exit interviews and we hear feedback as drivers have left us, as well as with HR, one of the things that we struggle with is we don't have 12-month positions to retain some of our drivers. So they go look for summer jobs, just like a lot of school staff do. And then when we need them in August, they don't necessarily come back to us. They've found a summer job. So our hope is that this represents 2/3 of our driver pool would be eligible for a 12-month position. This represents the increased cost, not the total cost of those positions, just the increase to add the additional working days to their calendar.
Would they be driving for summer school or?
Yes, so it'll help cut down on the extra duty positions that we have in June for the drivers that support summer school, because we would already have 8 drivers on staff year round. They will also be doing some non-driving tasks throughout the year, and that's what we find very similar to our neighboring districts. It was a split with our neighboring districts in the comp study. Half of them have some 12-month driving positions and some of them do not. The ones that do, they've kind of incorporated into that job description that then they are used for other things during the breaks if there isn't driving assignments to be had, such as summer cleaning crews, summer moving crews, all of those other things.
I guess the headline is, let's hope the legislature gives us more money so we can fund all these other wonderful things.
Yes.
Well, thank you.
Any other board members have questions? Okay. Any motions?
I move that we approve the 2023 Budget Committee recommendations.
Is there a second?
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Yeleni, are you on the phone? Okay. Well, thank you, Colleen, and the Budget Committee for these recommendations. Having been on those meetings, I appreciate the work that the collaboration and consensus building that occurred during the meeting. So thank you for that. All right. Next item, I guess it's yours as well. Approval of fiscal year 23 placement pay schedules.
Yes, I'm going to ask Dr. Woodland to join me and we'll go through the recommended placement schedules. These are the result of that previous action of approving the Budget Committee recommendations. Involves revisions to our placement schedules for the upcoming year. Do you want to start with the ones that were in the packet? Yeah.
So per our conversation and presentation at the May 5th board work study, that is kind of where these particular salary placement schedules come from. So for the certified teacher salary placement schedule that's reflected in the packet, you'll notice that from the 41,055 on the BA level for teachers, it's been increased to 43,000. And then per level, it increases to 48,000 on the BA level to level 5. For the masters, versus the 43 or so where it starts now, it's starting at 47, and it increases each level to 52. You'll also notice on the district approved college coursework level, we've increased the credits available on the BA side to plus 30. And then on the additional endorsements as well as certifications, we have added
Montessori.
Yes, we added the Montessori AMS/AMI certificate for 1,500. We've increased the special education certificate endorsement area to 1,500 from 1,000. And then that concludes all of the changes, so to speak, for the certified teacher placement schedule. If we move down, the next one that you'll see is classified exempt, which to my knowledge, you have a revised version that was provided to you. It looks as such. It's in your packet. It has lines.
It reflects the revision with that change to the budget committee recommendation. There's several of the salary schedules that then needed those revisions before approval tonight.
So based on the changes you just voted on, that is why the classified exempt salary schedule reflects a little bit differently to reflect those increases for that particular employee group. The next one that you'll see in your packets is the classified hourly placement schedule. Again, per the recommendations from Budget Committee, several employees' positions have been reclassified to be reflected on other schedules, including the CODA as well as the SLPA have been moved to classified exempt. You'll also notice the adjustment in the schedule, and because its placement is from level 2 to 11, as we discussed at the at the board work study on the 5th. The next salary schedule that you'll see in your packets is the psychologist placement schedule. It's pretty standard. It's reflective of the increase as discussed. After the psychologist schedule is the occupational physical therapist, speech therapist, social worker, and RN schedule. This is one that reflects of a change, so you should see that in the packets in front of you. It now has the CODA as well as the SLPA as the first category, followed by the social worker at the master's level, followed by the OT, PT, SLP, and RN. After that, you'll see the final salary placement schedule, and that'll be the administrator placement schedule. It's reflected from groups B all the way through group F.
And I would highlight that we talked and discussed a lot at the work study in presenting the comp study around moving to placement range schedules that reflect a min, mid, max template. You'll notice that these schedules do not reflect that yet. Part of that is all the components of the comp study build on each other. And so until additional dollars are made available from the legislature, hopefully, and we're able to complete all of the items that Budget Committee would recommend in that Group B priority list, we can't move forward with adjusting the schedules to a min, mid, max range until those other dollars are available to fund those. So these salary schedules still represent a very similar format to what our district has been using for many years. Again, they are still placement schedules in the sense of this is not any way salary caps or max salary. These are placement schedules, but they have not none of them have been really converted yet into a min to max range where you see some of those internal levels removed yet from the outfacing schedules. But it does give you a little bit of insight into how HR will go about placing within those ranges once those ranges are outfacing without those internal levels. That was one of the questions I believe the board had at the work study was around, how will HR implement placement schedules without levels present? And that gives you a little bit of an idea of this is what it looks like in HR internally for placement, even though outfacing, we're not quite there yet. The goal is to get to those min-max ranges in our outfacing documents. Again, hopefully once the legislature approves additional funds. We did also include in your packet there for the board's reference, we highlighted those individual positions that were within those hourly, and then the which hourly positions were being reclassified to exempt positions as a result of the comp study as well.
Just a quick comment. I appreciate all of your kind of bringing a lens of pay equity to this, and that you guys have, and all of the hard work, a lot of hard work has been put into this. You got to have that lens of pay equity when you're doing that, or else that gets lost. So I really appreciate you guys bringing that lens and keeping that in mind as you're doing this. I would love to see continued increases as we, I'm sure you would as well. So I appreciate all your hard work, not just on this, but in the future as we do everything we can to push these pay scales up and close that equity gap. So thank you for all your hard work. I don't have any other questions.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I move that we approve the FY23 placement pay schedules.
I second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Lenny, are you on the phone? Okay. All right. Last one is for preschool curriculum adoption recommendation.
Good evening, Governing Board members, President. I am going to present a recommendation from Teaching and Learning Department on our preschool curriculum. This is an extension of our conversation from our last meeting when Jill Singh presented some of the work that has been happening in our preschool department. And currently, the preschool department is using creative curriculum. And over the course of this year, they've spent some time really exploring other options for curriculum. And so we've looked at extensively at Benchmark Advance, Ready to Advance, and McGraw-Hill World of Wonders, and just doing some comparison work. So as they did the comparison, what they found was both curricula had very similar components. So English, the curricula was in English and in Spanish. Cross-curricular elements were there, meaning that there were connections to math and other content areas within the curriculum. And then the curriculum offered differentiation for diverse learners, for students who were accelerated, also fine motor skills and social emotional learning. Those were similarities, but the one main difference was the literacy readiness component. That entails phonological awareness, some of the stories that were in the big read aloud books, songs, chants, and other things that really get students engaged and excited in learning. So they chose Ready to Advance by Benchmark. So Ready to Advance, I sat in on a meeting with the preschool teachers as they were weighing the pros and the cons of both of those materials. And this by far was their resounding preference in terms of how it got students engaged. And then we did a survey to make it official, and Ready to Advance was the choice. As you can see, it has 10 units, which is very similar to the benchmark curriculum that we currently use in K-6. And it's very geared towards what's appropriate for preschool age. So the themes in the units, there are 10 themes, and they're very appropriate for our preschool students. The instruction is designed with whole group instruction, transitions for students, and then small group interaction. So there's differentiation, as I mentioned before, small group, reading groups with guided practice for students, and it has an assessment of learning component also built in. And what is important about this is that that small group time allows for students to explore, and it's aligned with the quality first assessment needs. So as the state comes and assesses the program, they're looking for different components, and so this aligns with what they would be looking for. The benchmark Ready for Advanced Literacy, as I mentioned, the literacy really stood out. Their big books, the read alouds with fiction, nonfiction, comprehension components, writing components, and then the other thing that really stood out was the lap books for high frequency words, that math connection, and the social emotional readiness skills. And this is just a snapshot of other features of the curriculum. So along with those big books, there are posters that teachers can display in the classroom. There's a family engagement connection so that we can extend some of the learning that's happening in the classroom to families. And then the emergent readers for small group instruction. And on the teacher side, the teacher has all of these materials at their disposal. And another big push is the foundational skills, which is a push not only for preschool, but also for all of our grades, as the state has shifted standards to really focus on the foundational skills of reading and writing. And so this really aligns and ties together with what we already have in place with our benchmark curriculum. And we're setting students up for success. And as we set them up for success, we're looking to assess their learning. And so it does have assessments built in. So we are going to, in the future, be looking to see how we can align the components, the assessments that are in the curriculum with what we are going to be doing for assessments, quarterly assessments, and progress monitoring that we would be doing on an ongoing basis. And then lastly, the benchmark universe, all of the materials are available for teachers online. So teachers can plan at home if they choose to, without having to carry the materials, the manuals, the heavy manuals back and forth. And then one other note that Ms. Singh wanted us to mention was that although this picture has students with the devices, they in preschool don't really have a lot of time on the screens. So that concludes the presentation, and we recommend that you support our moving forward with Benchmark Advance.
Wonderful. Great presentation. Very interested. I have a 4-year-old who'll be starting preschool in the fall. We're very excited about that. My question is this scaled down? I would love to see at each of our schools have a community preschool that supports 3 and 4-year-olds for everybody who wants to come. You know, there's a huge need that I see out in the community for preschool, huge unmet need, I should say. And you just oftentimes, I don't know about our schools, but you just oftentimes run into wait lists and people can't get in there. Especially here at Osborne, we want to welcome those families in and get them exposed to our wonderful schools early as possible. That's frankly how I got exposed to at here in Canto. They had the Little Big Minds program. So been here since the kids were 2 years old. Anyways, my question is actually, will this program scale down for 3-year-olds when we start hopefully in the next year or two rolling out more preschool programs for 3-year-olds? Would this also work for that?
That is a good question. Do you know?
I do believe we'll double check that, but I believe it is recommended for preschool programs in general, which was oftentimes 3-year-olds.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for the presentation.
Is curricula usually designed for ages or for grade levels? So it just, I'm curious to see whether is this pre-K, right? So is that, I'm just.
So their developmental level, yes.
Okay. All right. When you say that there was a survey, was that an internal district survey?
Yes.
For the staff?
For all the preschool teachers, and I participated as well because I also looked at the materials.
Okay. And I'm not familiar with, I think this might be the first time I have to contemplate adoption of curriculum
is there an opportunity for the public to review the curriculum?
Yes, we had the materials displayed on the table outside of the boardroom.
I grabbed them and reviewed them. I hope you don't mind. I took some home. Yeah, I took one home on accident. I didn't realize. I got home and I was like, I don't think I was supposed to take this home. But anyways, it was helpful for today's presentation.
That's funny. Then the was the public alerted that we were contemplating adopting curriculum?
It's on our agenda notice for today.
Well, no, but before that it was available.
I walked into the district office and saw it.
So. Oh, no, I know. So I mean, it's just in the future. I'd be interested in discussing that topic because it is of interest. At the same time, I would wager that no one actually asked affirmatively to or inquired about the curriculum that we're trying to adopt, right? So this might not be an issue that is as significant for this district, but I am interested in seeing what thought there is as to what engagement there is, because I'm curious from a equity and inclusivity perspective, like how is this curriculum structured? What are we approaching the selection of curriculum in that way? I am also conscious and mindful of deeply held belief that you guys know what you're doing and we trust you to do that. So it's not about, I don't want to be in a position of micromanaging or second guessing by any means. So I feel comfortable with the curriculum, but in terms of future adoption, that's something that comes to mind in terms of we're as professionals, as a lawyer, sometimes in my profession, I appreciate external input because I can get kind of just locked into what we think. Those are my thoughts on that topic.
Well taken.
And I think that we shouldn't, it's not important that we wait until 7 other districts decide to do it. And then we say, oh, we'll do it now. We might, if it's good, we should do it first.
We explored other curricular materials as well, but they weren't suitable for the classroom setting. These two seem to be more advantageous to students. And so we narrowed the field down and we were exploring them throughout the year, and 80% of the teachers who used them were in favor of this.
And I'm comfortable with what was presented in the materials and what the curriculum was presented. I am suggesting examination of the selection process itself, not necessarily questioning the outcome, but formalizing, opening up the selection process, provide opportunity for more input in the selection process with guardrails, because it is important that at the end of the day, it is a decision that's guided by your expertise in the field of education. So,
yes, point well taken.
Yep.
Ooh, go ahead.
I'll just add one. Officially, the board policy states that materials need to be on display for the 60 days. So in that regard, we've met the board policy. However, I think your input is very well taken, and especially, and I think it models our core values of relationships and leveraging the input of our community. So we always want to be improving on our procedures, and I think being very transparent about our procedures is really important. So I welcome the question, and we'd be happy to continue to share, as we won't likely be doing there will be adoptions in our future, especially as we head into the override season and look at what our needs are in the future. So it's a welcome question, and we will look forward to following up with that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I move that we approve the preschool curriculum adoption recommendation for the Ready to Advance, Listos y Adelante.
Motion's been made. Any seconds?
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I don't think Yelena's on the phone anymore, right?
No.
All right. All right. Motion passes. I'm going to go back to item A, which we had paused for adoption of the priorities, which were full kindergarten, full preschool. Were those two separate items?
Yes.
Okay. Full kindergarten, full preschool, equity in technology access, preservation of local control, reduction of unfunded mandates, and measures that improve or increase voter access. Does that sound right?
Is that 6?
That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Is that one too many?
It's
One-
it's asking for
we-
5 priorities and 2 others for consideration, so we can have up to a total of 7. And if it's fine, I would like to throw a 7th one on there.
Yeah, go for it.
It's actually under the section you had talked about. You just gave the broad thing, which is preserve and strengthen local control.
Yeah.
I would prefer, in personal opinion, we should be supporting policy that eliminates the use of corporal punishment and zero tolerance disciplinary policies. Talking to a Tempe,
People do corporal punishment in Arizona?
we are allowed to, we don't. But corporal punishment doesn't always have to refer to, spanking a kid or something like that.
Okay.
But it's actually by law, it's allowed. It's it's a weird thing. So,
okay.
But I remember sitting there and a gentleman from the Tempe Union High School District, he was one of the governing board members there. He talked about a little bit about his story and how he was school to prison pipeline. But that he felt that if there was different ways for him instead of having to be in that pipeline, quote unquote, he could have fared better in school. And he talked about that zero tolerance is one of those things.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for me personally, I think that would be another one I wouldn't mind putting there. Doesn't have to be priority, but I wouldn't mind putting it under consideration.
Sounds good.
Yeah. No, okay. So do you know if we need to approve 5, like identify which ones are priorities and which ones are considerations, or?
Yes, it's the 5 priorities and then the 2 alternates, or 2 not alternates, but 2
Would-
additional items.
Okay. I would suggest that we put, my sense is unfunded mandates as sort of an alternative with the tolerance one.
That
And
works.
then keep full kindergarten, preschool, equity to tech, preserve local control, and voter access as the priorities.
That works for me.
Are you okay with that, Luis?
Yeah, no, that works for me.
Okay.
A lot of great stuff to support, but that also looks like a good list.
Okay. Sue, do you have any?
That's good.
Okay. So, do you want me to recap that, Lisa?
That would be great.
Okay. In terms of the 5 priorities, full kindergarten, full preschool, equity and technology access, preservation of local control, and voter access. With the 2 alternatives for consideration, unfunded mandates and the zero tolerance one.
Just for the record, to be clear, we do not support unfunded mandates.
Yes, reduction of unfunded mandates.
And real quick, just to also reiterate kind of how this will work on the day of when all school boards go over this with their person we send. So it's basically just kind of throw everything each school district sends onto a giant Word doc. And then in the hall, everyone gets a chance to speak to it and they go through it item by item. So while we may say these are our top 5 priorities, at the end of the day, when we get to the hall, it's just going to be here's they all are, let's talk about them.
Yep.
And if you really want to watch some people get heated about things, this is a great place to go, and I kind of want to go again.
Okay. I hear someone volunteered.
Oh, I loved it.
All right. So do you have that list? Got it. Okay. I move that we adopt the following priorities, which I am paraphrasing. Support a full kindergarten, support a full preschool, equity and technology access, efforts to preserve local control, and increase voter access with alternate for considerations, reduction of unfunded mandates, and elimination of the zero tolerance and corporal punishment policies.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. Since Dr. Robert's not here, I suggest we table the board development.
Agreed.
There's no objection.
No objection.
All right. And then let's do some reflections, starting with Luis.
It was fantastic to see representatives from the entire district, community members in here for the celebrations. I mean, it's powerful. And I think Dr. Rivera talked about like the camaraderie between staff and everyone. I mean, it's evident here, the way people greet each other, the way everyone talked about each other. We're a district that builds each other up rather than, feeling separate. So it was powerful to see that. And I mean, it's also evident among us because, we're talking about serious things. We're still having a jolly time, so.
Well, and it's a uniform group here. It's not, my school's better than your school. We all work together. All of the different schools work together, and that's positive. That's a very good thing.
Agreed. I mean, it was very powerful to see people win awards. To take the time to stop and reflect and say thank you. It just feels like life is go, 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 go all the time, especially this year. It's been a crazy year. I think it's one where you look back on it, just being here, being back in person, with all of the challenges. It's been a crazy year. So to be able to stop even just for a couple of minutes and say thank you and we appreciate all your service. I think that was wonderful. I mean, I love seeing people get so emotional about how passionate they are about their jobs and about this district. And so just thank you all for being here, sticking out to the end. Those of you that are still here, just thank you for a wonderful school year.
I also echo the idea of being here. This is the first time in a long time that I've seen these many chairs that were filled here, and it was gratifying to see that we are together again, and we've found ways around the physical distance, but there's something about being physically close that resonates. I'm also very grateful again to everyone in budget committee who has worked hard on a tough budget, but I appreciate again the effort and the collaboration in doing that. And then Sue, you moved me with your comments, and I want to thank you for your service. I know you have a few more months to go, but this might be the last award ceremony meeting that you do. So your service is very much appreciated, and your words were heartfelt. So thank you very much.
One thing I want to add that doesn't have anything to do with the agenda, I guess, but I'm sorry that we were not able to visit any of the schools because that was a wonderful example of being able to be on the campuses, see the kids, see the teachers and the unities that was there. And also we were not told about activities. And I've seen on Facebook that we missed the OMS and the Clarendon band concerts, which really is really sad for me because that's important. And it's important for the families to see that the board members care about the kids and to be there for the teachers. And it's just.
So Sue, I will take those comments as future agenda items for discussion in terms of when can we go on campus in the fall, and a request to the administration to perhaps be more proactive about notifying us board members of on-campus activities. So put that as future agenda items. Luis, any future agenda items?
Yes, actually, something we had talked about a while before when we were in the middle of the pandemic still, of doing something at a school or district office for, remembrance of those we've lost due to COVID-19. I want to bring that back into discussion, but I want to take it a step forward and potentially look at kind of taken off what Ball School District has done and maybe potentially looking into doing our own restorative justice center here in the district. Something that not only remembers those people, but also looks towards equity in our community. Something similar to that. That's just beginning ideas. I would have to look more into how Ball School District has done theirs. But I think that's something that could be powerful in our district. Especially, I mean, one of the words we keep using and we use a lot tonight is equity. We really want to think about our community. We should potentially look into doing something similar to that.
Ed? Agree with all of those agenda items. On that, activities. I got to go to Encanto as a movie. Yep. Man, that's how you know what it was. It was wonderful.
It was packed.
Packed to the brim. My daughter's gonna be waiting in line for popcorn for like 30 minutes. It was priced too low. It was $1 for a big bag of popcorn. But anyways, it was wonderful. That's my feedback. It was just absolutely wonderful. Part of the like just euphoria of being there was just getting back into the rhythm of those things. See people, kids, and something like that was just so cool. I just really hope that we can do more of that at all of our schools. That was just so neat. But my actual future agenda item would be, Holly would love an update on kind of Exeter more generally. How we doing? How much have we spent down? How much more do we have to spend? What are our kind of projections in that way? Hopefully this isn't a whole heap of work for you, but I know we've got deadline we spent already. Just kind of want to look at that. And part of my thought process too is, are there maybe some funds we can use? One of the different challenges this past year, and it was maybe perpetual challenges, is temporary teachers, something like word. Teachers come in when our teachers are sick, right? Substitute, mine's like substitute teachers. And I had heard a lot of feedback, both from parents and from teachers, it's been a struggle. Find substitutes, find long-term substitutes, we have long-term needs challenges. The short-term needs, kids have to get split up sometimes and put into other classes. We've got to make do, and we've got to pull people away from, what they normally do, which is very, very important things like interventionists and things like that. You got to pull them away from their main, really important duties to cover just the urgent, I guess, needs. So I'd love to see or know about that extra studies. Maybe there's some money to hire another long-term sub at each school to help alleviate some of those things. Because I think the dynamic has changed, I think for the better. Whereas teachers before would kind of wear a badge of honor and say, I haven't taken a sick day, I just worked through it, I powered through. And I think the dynamic has changed a little bit. If you're sick and want to take a sick day, please do take that time. But commensurate is we've got to have long-term subs available for that. So all of that's within ESSER.
No, but a long-term sub at one school, that would be kindergarten through 3rd, 4th grade, or.
So
and
let's
the
not discuss the possible future agenda items since it's
Okay.
not on the agenda. But noted, Ed. For myself, no, nothing at the moment. Thank you. So it was a long meeting. I appreciate you guys sticking out, but it was a very pleasant meeting and happy, joyous meeting. So thank you and have a good night.